Dimitri Lascaris, who is a human rights activist and a lawyer. Please give a round of applause.
No, you have to stay away.
Good evening, beautiful people of conscience. In these dark times, it's hard, of course, to find reasons to rejoice. But for me personally, moments such as these remind me of the innate goodness of human beings. And for that, I thank all of you. We stand in solidarity, not just with the beleaguered Palestinian people, but with all victims of injustice today. Joining in protests such as these with fellow citizens of conscience, with people of goodwill, from all faiths, from all ethnicities, from all nationalities, provides us with a guarantee of justice. It is our solidarity, our determination, our relentless advocacy for the oppressed that will ensure ultimately that justice will prevail. We will name and shame the oppressors of the Palestinian people at every turn. We will name and shame those Canadian politicians, those so-called defenders of human rights who have aligned themselves with the oppressor. Shame! And to them we say, no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
My friends, for the United States government, yesterday was a day that will live in infamy. Yesterday, the United States government, contrary to the votes of the rest of the United Nations Security Council, vetoed a resolution that did the minimum, the bare minimum that a decent human being would do. It called for a ceasefire at the site of a genocide. So dire has the situation become for our brothers and sisters in Gaza that 4 European countries and Japan, all of which normally align themselves with their masters in Washington, voted in support of the ceasefire resolution. Even Biden's lapdogs in London, England, were unwilling to vote against this resolution. So embarrassing is the opposition to it. Rather, the moral cowards in London decided to abstain. And so this rogue criminal regime in Washington that dares to call itself a democratic administration stood alone in opposing this resolution. To grasp the depravity of Genocide Joe's infamous act, we need only examine the speech that the UN Secretary General delivered to the entire world hours before the vote. And I'm quoting him. More than 130 of my colleagues have already been killed, many with their families. These are UN staffers. This is the largest single loss of life in the history of our organization. Shame to these people. He continued, more than 17,000 Palestinians have reportedly been killed since the start of Israel's military operations. This includes more than 4,000 women and 7,000 children. Tens of thousands are reported to have been injured and many are missing, presumably under the rubble. Attacks from air, land, and sea are intense, continuous, and widespread. So far, they have reportedly hit 339 education facilities, 26 hospitals, 56 healthcare facilities, 88 mosques, and 3 churches. Shame on these monsters! The Secretary General continued, over 60% of Gaza's housing has reportedly been destroyed or damaged. Some 300,000 houses and apartments, some 85% of the population have been forced from their homes. And then he added at least 88 UN Relief Works Agency facilities, shelters have been hit, killing over 270 people and injuring over 900. And despite all of these horrors that UN Secretary General recounted to the entire world yesterday, Genocide Joe voted against this resolution. This, of course, was not the first time that the US government revealed its depravity. We saw its depravity in Vietnam, in Cambodia and Laos. We saw its depravity in Iraq and Afghanistan. We saw its naked depravity in Guantanamo, where innocent men were tortured with complete impunity. But yesterday was a new low for this depraved criminal regime in Washington. The mask is now entirely off. The whole world now sees what the U.S. government truly represents. But it must also be said that this government does not speak for the American people. Despite the relentless pro-Israel propaganda of the U.S. corporate media, most Americans want a ceasefire. All over the United States, our brothers and sisters are protesting. They're demanding justice for Palestinians. They're naming and shaming, as are you, people of conscience, the oppressors of the Palestinian people. Many Americans also call for an end to the provision of the bombs that are committing this genocide, being provided directly to the genocidal Netanyahu regime by the Genocide Joe administration. Don't believe for 1 second U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken when he tells you that they're urging the Israelis to take greater care. How can you say this with a straight face when you're giving to the Israelis the 2,000-pound bombs that they're launching into refugee camps in Gaza? It is now crystal clear that the U.S. government does not represent, as it sanctimoniously claims, democracy, human rights, and international law. The U.S. government is the enemy of these things. Even worse, it is the enemy of humanity. It is an existential threat to us all. Unless and until the U.S. government is replaced by one that is truly responsive to the demands of justice and to the needs of the people, humanity will not be safe. Not only will the Palestinian people be unsafe, all of us will be unsafe. The world understands this now. The U.S. is now completely isolated. Mercifully, the era of U.S. hegemony is over. Through their sacrifice, their dignity, their courage, and their grace, the Palestinian people have rendered a great service to humanity. They have exposed, discredited, and delegitimized this criminal regime in Washington. For this, our precious brothers and sisters in Palestine deserve our profound gratitude and our unwavering support. We stand with you. We hear you. We will not abandon you in your hour of need. Please chant with me. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Viva, viva Palestina!
Viva, viva Palestina!
Viva, viva Palestina!
Viva, viva Palestina!
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace! Thank you, my friends.